Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm Adan.
and this will be our DC-ness review of the Sandman.
Probably want to add more wind noises.
Spoilers. All right, so Sandman premiered by the time this reviewing a week ago, August
Mhm.
5th. Again, it was a big date for a lot of premieres. Prey on Hulu, Bullet Train in the movie theaters, Sandman here, Easter Sunday, the comedy starring Joe Coy, and with Netflix. For those who don't know, you can stream the whole season in one shot. You can binge it. Where like others like Hulu or other streaming services like Apple TV or Disney Plus, you have to wait week by week to get it, or less you want to wait and then you just stream it. Anyway, you saw it. I saw it. It is a DC product. It was originally by Vertigo, right?
It originally aired through Vertigo, which is also it is DC. It's just like a
Like a
branch off.
branch.
Yeah, branch of it.
Yeah.
Written by Neil Gaiman, who also brought to us Lucifer, the series Lucifer, which was spun into the Fox show Lucifer. Wildly different from the Fox series. Actually, here it's a little bit more accurate. There are differences between this and the book, though.
Right, of course. I guess they had to, for the episodes in the season, they had to, I guess, get as much in as possible to tell a coherent story, which I felt was incoherent at times, being all honest.
Yes.
Uh, I liked the show. The show was very interesting. It's visually beautiful. It's a good show. It's definitely, I'll say it now, worth the watch. But I got bored at times or confused or lost, if however you want to look at it. Are you familiar with Sandman? Because I am not.
I recently got familiar, but I've never officially read the novel, the books, or read the heard the audibles. But
Mm-hmm.
I am to the gist of like the general concept of the characters and what was going on. I am familiar in that area before the series had happened. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a pleasant surprise because I'm introduced to a lot of different things. The general concept of the character and how things happened, I knew about that.
Okay. I had no idea. I just know he was this series, this comic. A lot of people like it. And I talked to some people
I want to say
who,
it's like a bestseller.
from watching the show, I can see why. I can see where the lore of the or the love of the lore comes from. This show did present a good foundation for like sequels, and again there will be a sequel the way how it ended, but there were times that I did get lost or bored or didn't feel like it was needed. Maybe down the line in another series, another season, it'll probably connect the dots. But I was like, but why? And we'll talk about that. Now, for me, I liked like the first one third of the how many episodes? It was like 10, right? It was like 10 episodes.
About that.
So I had 10 episodes. So the part where he gets captured, right? He's
Episode
about
one.
to right. Well, episode one, but the thing is, he's trying to stop Corinthian or
Uh,
the Corinthian because he's a dream that went rogue. Sandman's trying to stop him from doing that or reset him, and then he gets captured. And all that was intriguing. I was falling for that. I was following it. I liked it. And then when he gets freed, that's when things got a little wonky for me. Now I know again a lot of comic book fans. It was like, oh, it was great. They did everything. They did yes, comic book accuracy in many things, but for me the flow changed abruptly, and it didn't really connect or push along down the season. What about you? Do you agree or disagree?
Kind of, I'm in a middle ground about that. So for there are parts that are slow, 100%. I agree with that part.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this conversation with a friend of mine that was like, I'm getting bored, but there are parts that kept pulling him back in after he would get bored. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I don't know if I was looking at it more a meta way because of like the flow of it was like how I would interpret a dream flow. Like if I'm not having a dream, you don't have a coherent dream. When you have a dream, it's like it jumps from parts to parts, and
Mm-hmm.
and you have things that will be make sense, and you have things that don't make sense. And granted, I did not read the book, so I can't say how accurate is the flow to the book, but I feel like that's something that would have been considered.
Right.
And additionally to that, the whole there is like I do know that the storyline was heavily involved with actual main DC characters that were involved,
Right.
like that were heroes and so forth like that. So
Well, let's talking about that.
they had to take that out.
From one of my friends who told me in a little more detail that, like, the girl who,
The pregnant one?
yes, Alita Hall, she's Wonder Woman's daughter,
Yes, exactly.
and her husband that she kept dreaming about is like related to Hawkman, like a
Hmm.
grandchild, or he's a great grandchild of Hawkman or something like that.
Yeah, he's like not like Carter Hall, obviously, but like related to the Hall family. Um,
Right.
and then you got there was differences. They made changes to the Corinthian. There was also involvement of other characters like Superman, as well as I think maybe even Swamp Thing at one point. Uh,
Superman.
I'm quite sure Superman was involved at one point in time.
But was there like a incarnation or representation in the show of
No,
Superman?
that's what I'm saying. So
Oh,
like they're not all the main DC characters that were involved in the actual book were
mm-hmm.
actually involved in the show. They actually subtracted them out. The ones
Well,
that
like
they did use, they kind of either kept them true or they substituted
you had to be a real fan of the book to know who these people are and how they relate to the DC world.
them.
And I know, like with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, those characters, that's a lot of money to pay.
Exactly.
And this is on Netflix, not on HBO Max, which I thought would be, but they probably had a big, they probably did an agreement long ago, and it took time for that to come into fruition. Um,
Fruition.
through one of those words to make it on Netflix. Probably similar to like Peacemaker, where he couldn't have or show completely like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, but they had the Flash and Aquaman make it a cameo. Like those are Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Those characters. The episodes I enjoyed, but it didn't make sense afterwards. Was like I was like, where is this going? John D. When he's in the diner,
Yeah.
the Ruby, and he's making people do stuff or make their true nature come out. I did enjoy it, but I didn't know where it was going. To me, it didn't go to anywhere else. Did it? I mean, maybe did I fall asleep somewhere?
So the whole concept is like he's making them remove the lies, the white
Right.
lies,
That
the
I know.
major lies, and just forcefully telling the truth and enacting those truths is like without inhibitions to that. But as he's doing that in the diner is the central focus point, right? This is the epicenter. As you're in the diner, I don't know if you heard it, like he's listening to the news, and the news is starting to go into that, and they're talking about stuff that's happening worldwide. So he's actually sending that energy outbound. In the comic, he was more about like I'll just destroy everything, destroy the world kind of situation. Here,
Now,
he was
wasn't he Destiny or Doctor Destiny or something like that?
yes. So he's like he's like Dr. Destiny, which they had a character in the Justice League animation, as well as
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to say is Dr. Destiny or Mr. Destiny, yeah. But
Yeah.
he was also in the Justice League Dark cartoon.
Okay.
And so I want to say it was in both of those, but they were showing him get like in a costume outfit, so forth like that, and he is
Mm-hmm.
like I will kill everybody kind of mentality there. Here is like they changed up his mentality to make him like I'm
Yeah.
just making people do what they want to do. I'm not giving them restraints, no hindrance.
And it's by the same actor who was in the first Wonder Woman film. He was Ares.
Yeah, David the Lewis.
Again, recycling actors in that aspect. And as you know, that's one of my biggest pet peeves because Patton Oswalt is back in this damn thing doing another voiceover for another comic book project, which is like, yes, he's great. Yes, he's talented. I do enjoy it, but freaking come on. Give me other people. There are so many actors that want to work. There are so many talented actors don't get a chance to shine. And when you give people like Patton Oswalt, who's taking all of that work, it's just frustrating.
To be on that point, at the same time, if we're going with that argument, we're going to have to say Mark Hamill's going to have to give people work too, because he's in this too.
Where?
Marvin the pumpkin waiter, who was the janitor. That's Mark
Oh,
Hamill.
that was Mark Hamill. Okay.
Yeah, the Corinthian. That was the guy from Logan.
Right. He's in Logan. He's also in The Predator.
Yeah.
He was good in this because he was terrible in The Predator. He was good in Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Here he was. I was like, and was his eyes of teeth?
Yeah, and that was also in the comics. Jenna Coleman, she was in Doctor Who. She was an ongoing character in Doctor Who.
Who? I mean, who? Who was that?
Jenna Coleman, Joanna Constantine.
Yeah, but Doctor Who is not in a comic book. That's a sci-fi thing. I'm just saying, like Patton is Marvel. He's DC. He's Marvel. I mean, yes, he's great, but it's just there's so much, and it's not like Mark Hamill is like monopolizing on it. He's not like one of the feature players.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so that diner is good. Now, did I fall asleep somewhere? How did Sandman get his ruby back?
He didn't technically. So what happened was he goes into like a test of power between him and Dr. Destiny, and Dr. Destiny's whole thing is like I'm gonna destroy this, and like the facade of the dreams, and he ends up destroying the ruby in the process. But all the aspects like the mask, the ruby, the sand is really just a part of Morpheus, the Sandman. So by doing so, he inadvertently released the power and gave it back to the Sandman when he thought he was killing him.
Okay. I was just wondering because I was like, did I miss it somewhere that he?
The subtle thing.
Because after that,
and that's the thing I want to say. Like this show, like we always talk about like fights and action and whatnot. That is
no fights. No fights.
The fights are more metatextual.
Mental.
They're mental. Literally, Lucifer versus Morpheus. They have a challenge.
Hello. When they fought,
yeah,
I couldn't help but think of you with your damn card games. Your Magic, The Gathering, your D&D, all that stuff. Is like, that's what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Here's my card. It has this, it does that. All right, I defend it and I do it with this. I deflect that power and I counter with this. And I was like, oh my God.
Which was slightly different in the comic, because in the comic, it was not Lucifer. It was the demon that actually had the mask that they were going battling against each other. But the concept was there is a battle of words and imagination to dictate like who has superior imagination versus the other. Where Sandman, Morpheus is more like in the book, he's like practically rap battling like the demon. Like he's like just bust down all these visual contexts and whatnot. Here it's cool because you literally see the visualization. Like when we see in the comics, like Professor X and like Jean Grey finding on the astral plane, they picture a certain aspect, and that becomes their tool of weapon of choice. Like they build their armor, they build a tank and stuff.
Right. Like but the thing is, those creations with Professor X and Jean Grey, they'll probably battle. Not Jean Grey and Professor X, but what they created would battle. Here it was like I said, those cards, or like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
When you had the fight where you just stand there and then you hit a button and they come out and hit the creature and they come right back.
Well, they were very descriptive about it. Like, I am the viper that bites into the skin of the wolf.
True.
And poisons you, and then the poison infests them.
I'm sorry. It's just like funny. It's like, this is what I'm going to do to you, and you're going to let me do it.
I mean, when you have the power of a pseudo god, how else would you do that?
I'm just saying, and then you're just going to let me do it to you, and you're just going to stand there. Then I'm just going to stand here and let you do what you're going to, do to me, and not counter it like in a real situation.
Well, I mean, that's like the game you just mentioned, Final Fantasy. It was a turn-based game. You got one turn, you go to the next.
I know, I get it, but it's just find it funny. That's all. And again, I thought about you and your card games and things of that nature. Another episode where I thought was unneeded, But I guess, I mean, the episodes, I guess, were needed to show the growth of Sandman
Yeah.
because
Are
he
you
was
talking
locked
about
up for
Hobbs?
his best friend.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, why is this here? Because we see where is the really the first time he meets Constantine
Yeah.
is actually a just they made a female version because it's not John Constantine, which is I think in the book,
Yeah, it is in the book.
and is I think is like Joanna Constantine
Yeah.
here just to swap the sexes, not to get sued or anything. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting, but it's not grabbing my attention. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel like it's moving the story along, even though it does in a show where Sandman is have compassion and he's not a total loner. He has needs, he has wants, but I think they could have done it a different way. Again, that's just my opinion. And I know like a lot of it is comic book accurate. So I know people who are listening who are like, F you, this is how it's supposed to be. It's like, I understand that. But for a series to tell a story, because I would like for the series to have focus one or two things. And it felt like it was focusing on multiple things instead of being coherent. Him being captured, him trying to find an escape route,
Yeah.
then him finding, reuniting with his sisters and brothers, then Unity, which that happened in the beginning, which brought it back around, where all the kids fell asleep or people went into slumber because he was locked up. Rose Walker and all that stuff was just like, I
I mean,
don't. I mean,
well, I mean
maybe
that brings it all back around, like that final chapter of the series, the last six
right.
episodes.
No, I get that, but like the stuff in between, like get that out, put the focus back there where he escapes. Unity wakes up, and then Rose is in. Then you have Corinthian trying to chase Rose. What that happens? He's trying to capture Rose, and okay, then have it there. But the stuff in between just seemed like
So you didn't like the whole Wings of Death episode,
which one was that again?
Sister Death, where he's having a moment. They're in a park and there's a soccer game, and
It's
she
just,
takes off.
yeah, but it was just okay. Like that and the best friend. That could have been one episode where he meets her, she does his thing, but it was just like over and over, like just repeating, getting people, just going there, welcoming them to the final resting place. They could have cut it down a little bit, in my opinion, because in all actuality, the episodes got longer as it progressed.
Okay.
The first two episodes were really short, around like 30 minutes or so, 30 to 40 minutes. And then it got closer to an hour as it progressed throughout the season. Just me. I mean, just the for the pace sake, and understand this is not an action series. It wasn't an action book. I get that. It's more of the intellectual. But to hold the attention, my opinion should have been a little cut here and there. I don't know if you agree or not. I do like I mean, there's a lot of good moments, a lot of nice moments. I like the part where in the beginning they're Cain and Abel,
Yeah.
and they they keep going keep cycling. Cain's always going to kill Abel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. And I like that fact that they're not white. They appear more like how they would be in the real world.
True. Although they
You
do
know,
have like elf-like ears, I do understand that.
and the brother of Rose. I was like, dude, just sit still. Always getting in trouble. Oh, let me find out. Always laughing. Let me find out. Oh no, he's killing somebody. Let me run away again. Or let me. It's like what I. It's like just sit your ass still. That reminded me of like those movies or those stories that the kid that always causes the trouble for everyone and everyone dies because of that irresponsibility of the kid
True, but
or
he
that
wasn't the
kid's
cause of anybody's death or anything. He just got in trouble himself. No one else. Don't count
no,
Funland, man. Funland. Funland was going to get him
no,
in the
no,
end.
but I know, but he always put himself in danger.
Which is true. But
He always
initially, the danger he was in was from his own adopted parents. They were like literally
right.
locking him away, and
No,
then
no, no. That you're right. I get he's in a bad situation. He's trying to get out, but now he's like in a good situation where he's about to be reunited with his sister. But like, hey, let me look around. Let me see what's going on. Let me put my nose into it and steal this and take that. And I was like, oh my god, it's like, just read the room, buddy. Read the room. And talking about that, I do like how the serial convention is about killers, but they change the name just for it can throw off people.
Yeah,
And you and I have gone to plenty of comic book conventions. Granted, nothing like as sick as that, but we know there are conventions out there that anyone's flavor will
probably
tend to it.
exist. Yeah,
Yes, there's probably like a nose booger picking convention somewhere,
sounds gross, but
but
maybe.
probably maybe. So I picked this in 1992. Ugh, I'm getting sick now. And we have also Desire from Cowboy
Yes,
Bebop. I
yes.
liked him. I like him. I love his approach. I love his.
Well, I want to.
The way he moves, the way he acts is just so he knows that's an artist right there.
I think it was at Mason Alexander Park.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say they're non-binary in their gender or whatever in practice. So, but Mason Alexander, either way, I agree. As a
He,
character playing Desire, you see Mason's twin.
they're like
And, exactly.
fraternal twins.
And the thing about Desire is like it can be argued what is Dream if not Desire? And they even mentioned it in the show, like the two used to get along so well together, but then you became like kind of competitive with each other. And
Well, he impregnated. Um,
he was the cause for that.
yeah, right. He caused Unity getting pregnant, and also that he was the cause for Unity not to be the one. The burden went on to Rose,
So
and
it could be also like potentially, I don't know if it's true, but it could be argued that maybe he's even the one that helped lead the whole situation to him being captured in the first place.
possibly.
Because Corinthian knew where he was and knew how things were,
Mm-hmm.
and like the question is like, how did he get that information? Who fed him that detail? Like how to
Right.
keep him imprisoned? And that's where I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this may have been like a whole master plan, all in the works. But yeah, Mason's character, that was an enjoyable character. It was a weird
Yeah.
character for me, and I didn't experience that before, and I was like, I dig it. He did a
I
better
don't know.
performance here, arguably, for me, than when it was on Cowboy Bebop, and I think that was because of the writing.
Yeah, this more it seemed like since I'm not sure how to call a non-binary person. So my apologies for those
They,
listening, watching.
we'll say they.
I have trouble doing that when it's one person. Sorry.
Let's just
I'm
call him
sorry.
Mason. Let's just say Mason.
Fair enough. I'll agree with that. It seemed like they gave Mason his shining moment to let him shine with the material they gave him. And I will think how to be like the costumes and stuff like that. Because it just felt like he was made for that role.
True.
And he was like one of the best things of the series, of the show, of the season. I'm looking forward to see Mason in season 2
Yeah,
if they do it. Because Netflix sometimes
they do have a
they cancel
tendency.
the best they cancel the best shows after one season. Well, they keep bringing on the crappy shows. And do you have any other favorite moments or good moments? Is there a moment that you didn't like? Because I know I said a lot on my behalf. What about
uh,
you?
the last episode or last one or two episodes with the Corinthian at the serial convention, because it goes to show like how much Corinthian wasn't just I'm gonna kill people. He was a manipulator. He was a manipulator of situations, and I enjoyed the Corinthian's character the most of the show, of the various arguably villain characters, because you can say not all the characters were villains that were there. Lucifer technically is just a ruler, but not necessarily a villain. Doctor Destiny didn't really act like a villain. Even the Corinthian, yes, serial killer, nightmare. But at the same time, by the time he is destroyed, Corinthians is explaining, I did it so I can feel human. I can taste what humanity
Mm-hmm.
has and be closer. And it's like, as much as you may despise what I've done and what I do here, you don't get what it is to be human. You don't appreciate that. And
Well,
it calls him out on that.
true, and I guess that's why they brought in the story of his best friend, because he used his best friend to feel
To
to get
show
a better understanding.
there is a void between him and humanity. And
Right.
even when he was catching up to Hobbs, he still had that void. It took him, granted, being in prison for about 100 years to admit, for maybe 200 years to admit that there is something of a best friend with him and Hobbs.
Mhm.
But that's still a divide between Morpheus and the sensation of humanity. I do know in the stories of the Endless, in the comics, of all the Endless entities, Death is the most in tune with what it is to be human and the emotions of humanity. So that makes sense on like as an afterthought. But yeah, my favorite aspect was the Corinthian character overall. I thought that was a fantastic little villain to have ongoing, even though he
Mhm.
didn't really do much. Matter of fact, a
Well,
lot of the
they
villains
brought
didn't really do much through, except for like they had key moments.
well, yeah, like they brought him in. He was in the beginning. Then
Hmm.
he came back. He came back towards the end.
Yeah,
Like the
he
last
showed up
four
on.
episodes.
He was at the very beginning, and then he was in like one or two parts in the couple episodes for Doctor Destiny, and then like at the very end. Yeah.
All right. So ratings from here.
Hmm.
Worth the watch?
I agree. Worth the watch.
Yes, I do agree. It is worth the watch. Worth to own?
I would say maybe if they had a season 2, and depending on how that flows, I might want to go for a season 1.
Mm,
I am intrigued for that. Or maybe if I actually read the book, that might push me to want to own it. As it stands right now, I'm actually okay if I don't own
not for me.
it. Hmm.
Not to own. I do dig the acting. I do dig the performances. There are some nice moments there that really got my attention. And there's, like I said before, just got me. If they edit it like that, they cut it down some things, then I would have been intrigued. Like I said, like the moment with Death and Hobbs, that could have been one episode easily. It is what it is. All right, guys, that is our DC-ness review of the Sandman. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you, bro.